The whole Japanese production team had assembled to hear the vicar's plans for Billy G's concert, and it was time for him to perform. Before starting, he, as usual, suggested a pause for thought and made the whole team sit in silence, taking great gulps of fresh air before he finally thrust his left fist in the air with an enthusiastic cry of "Onward!" I was, as ever, impressed by the ease with which he took total control of the situation. The first item on the agenda was to finalise the specs for the PA system for the concert, which the vicar was happy to approve with some minor amendments. Then he examined the layout. "Well, if you think I'm going to mix the concert stuck away in the back corner, I fear you are sadly mistaken. You might as well put me in a broom cupboard or the ladies' toilets. In fact, I will be able to hear so little that you could have saved yourself the cost of an airfare. I would have been able to hear just as much sitting in my drawing room at home, so I could have mixed the concert from there. But Vicar-san, every engineer is happy with where the mixing desk is. Then every engineer can mix it. If you want me to mix the show, then the mixing desk must be here." He pointed to the schematic diagram, right in the centre of the hall, in the middle of the stereo, where I can hear. "But this is impossible. There are seats there." "Then cancel the concert, because I shall not be mixing it." He smiled across at Beermore, who was sitting in the corner tapping his fingers impatiently. "I think you will find, if you talk to the promoter, that you may suddenly discover that those seats can be moved and the mixing desk can magically appear in the middle of the hall. What next?" They ran through numerous other points about which the vicar was equally forthright. Some of the things that he demanded appeared bizarre to me at the time. He insisted that each member of the group should use tiny little in-ear monitors like miniature headphones to hear themselves on stage. A technician queried this decision, but the vicar was adamant. "Nothing that I do is arbitrary," he scowled, surprised that someone should be so insolent as to question him. "I offer you an informed opinion based on years of experience and pain and suffering, interspersed with just a sufficient quantity of sheer joy as to make me keep the faith. Might I be so bold as to suggest that you trust me? Richard the Bee is paying me the equivalent of the Third World debt for my views, and I would like him to feel that he is getting something for his money." As he spoke, he picked up a half-empty cup of coffee that I'd left on the table and tied it away on the sideboard behind him. "There is an appalling sound reflection of the back of this theatre. I attended a concert here," he looked at his watch, "9 months and 2 days ago, when half the band were playing in time and the other half were playing a second behind because they were listening to the echo. I'm sure you would not want Billy to get her G-string out of time." Also, the vicar would allow no conventional stage monitors for the band. Instead, he announced that he wanted a large speaker on each side of the stage, which he would feed with the same sound as the main hall, so that Richard's expensive guests, who will no doubt be supping on a gin and tonic backstage, can hear what the great unwashed are getting. The only problem that he had not foreseen came when Tetsu asked him how he would like to cope with the TV feed. He looked angrily across at Beermore. "I think that Morebeer has been keeping teeny-weeny secrets from me. Again. Do you not know the parable of the detective and the manager? The manager hires the detective to stop his singer being poisoned to death. He unfortunately forgets to tell the detective that he has just handed a loaded rifle to the singer's ex-boyfriend. Net result, one very messy singer. Unless we are lucky and the boyfriend misses and hits the manager in the balls. Did you not think that I might need to know about something like a TV broadcast of the concert?" Beermore did not like being spoken to in this way in public. "The TV broadcast is my business. You're being paid to tell Tetsu how you'll supply him with the sound." "Is this the usual Japanese-style TV deal, a recording for powwow to broadcast later?" "No. It is a live broadcast because of Rip Sync scandal. It would be good to show that Biriji really can sing live," said Tetsu. My, a live TV broadcast." The vicar looked over at Beermore. "We do keep big secrets, but then again, I knew that already. If that assassin were to hit you in the balls, you would not only be in danger of impotence, but brain damage as well." "I will not be spoken to like that. Who do you think I am?" cut in Beermore. "Not in front of the hired hands," he hissed more quietly to the vicar. It was obviously not so much the comment that Beermore objected to, but more the fact that the vicar was saying such things in front of the servants. "I am tempted to suggest, punksters, that come the revolution, our Richard the Bee would be one of the first to receive a haircut courtesy of our friend Madame Guillotine."
If you keep up your insinuations, I will have to consider suing you for defamation of character and loss of my good name. That would never fly.
The vicar never missed a beat.
You have no good name to lose.
The veins on Beermore's neck began to stand out.
I'm sorry, have I been pissing in the communion wine?
The vicar returned to the subject at hand.
I suppose it has occurred to you that by broadcasting this concert, if there were to be a case of sabotage, you risk Billie G being held up to ridicule all over Japan. That is why you have received a big fat check, said Beermore, who was getting very heated. I hope my trust is not misplaced, because I have just allowed Pow Wow to license the broadcast in America too. Billie G will show that she has nothing to hide.
So, not only Japan, but the rest of the known world as well. Might I suggest that you also throw in the known universe and universes yet to be discovered, as you do in your record contracts? That should at least make it mildly exciting. He collected his things together.
I think, under the circumstances, gentlemen, that I had better forgo the luxury of a brief rest and head straight to the venue,
unless someone has something appropriate to the moment that they might wish to say. He looked around. Good. When you are ready, Tetsu. Before leaving, he remembered something and turned to Beermore. Did you at least manage to get Hawk as head of security? Beermore asked the door attendant to open the door, and in walked a vast man, simply enormous. His head was shaven except for a large Mohican down the centre, and his entire body seemed to be one large tattoo. Beermore pulled the vicar to one side.
Are you sure he's the man for the job?
I am sure you know his reputation as well as I do, and he has no previous involvement with anybody here,
including you.
The vicar walked over and shook his hand.
Ah, Hawk,
I am pleased to see you again. It has been a long time. Perhaps you would like to join us. Given Richard the Bee's latest news, I may be relying on you even more than I had suspected.
That boy's not cool. He's got ears the size of diamonds, broken nose and a twisted face, with a voice that
something for the Brown album. I would not like to have smelt the underpants of the sound engineer that night. Our Achilles heel, gentlemen, is Billie G's radio microphone.
Without that story, I've been instructed to cut the silly chit-chat. No more talk about toilet breaks and sparkling demure. No more editorial ad-libs, as it were. No more telling you about the scandals that happened in Cannes, or the fact that we should far better have trusted Luke Hutchins, our crooked literary agent, with the photocopies of my penis than the ones of the vicar's business plan. Our next, see you.